Hey everybody, welcome to Flipping the Classroom. Hi, I'm Ryan Musak. My little friend Bowie's here with me as well. He tends to co-star in a lot of my videos. Bowie, down. So we're looking at a couple of different things today. First off, why do we flip a classroom? Okay, how do you flip the classroom? And we're actually in class. We'll get some ideas of how to design your own flip lesson, possibly record your own video, and share some flipping ideas you have as to how to use this methodology. So, first, I'll talk about why I ended up flipping my classroom down, Bowie. Um, well, I had a couple problems, all right? I say three, but when I think about it, it's really four problems that I had. And first off, is that kids in my class were really bored in class just taking notes of reading the text. We had so much content to cover in our curriculum that it made it really, really difficult to try and do all the extended critical thinking that I wanted to do. And my kids wanted to do more exciting, more fun things, mini projects, discussions, activities, role play simulations, those kind of things. So between the notes and the background info, the content, if you will, the knowledge, if you will, and then other things we wanted to do, there wasn't any time to actually do that. And so those are the three main problems I had. A fourth one that crept up to me, I noticed later on, was my students were special ed students. I mean, yeah, I might print notes off for them, that kind of thing, but ended up being basically kind of a sit there and glaze over kind of thing sometimes for them if they got too far behind or couldn't keep up, had problems, focusing that long. And so as I worked on it this year, I noticed that my kids were like, wow, this is really a lot easier to focus 15 minutes and do this versus trying to focus for 45 minutes. And that amount of time of focus was a big deal, I felt. So as I said, my kids are really bored. They get a little taking notes, just read the text in class, want to do something different. We didn't have time to do a lot of the meaningful, high-level thinking that I wanted to do. And lastly, there's so much content and skills. How can I best utilize my time to do all the things I want to do in my class? Now, unfortunately, I'll use a lot of history examples here. They'll try to make it applicable to everybody in the crew. Now, what is flipping? Flipping is it's very simple. As like you would flip a pancake, let's flip things over, do things backwards. Traditionally, school has always been the direct instruction in the classroom, followed up by that practice or work at home you do. The homework would be the worksheet, the extra reading, the extension of the lecture, if you will, the direct instruction. Here we flip it around. The kids come in already having done or supposed to have done the direct instruction. We'll do that practice, activity, homework type stuff as well. Now, that doesn't mean kids come in the classroom and just sit down and start cranking out worksheet to worksheet after worksheet. It's more that, um, working with the information. How can we analyze and work with the info you have versus just trying to fill ahead with knowledge? And how can we do more of that? Now, benefits to flipping. For one is that I found I had a lot more time now to work with my students. I was moving around the classroom a lot more, talking to small groups, talking to kids one-on-one, checking with kids, that kind of thing, versus just me up in front of class for 47 minutes. I was more available for one-on-one help during that instructional time. I could sit down with kids and talk with a little bit. I thought it was a really good beneficial thing. I helped develop a lot more relationships, I felt, versus just me being up in front of the class. A lot more opportunities for collaboration, both between students and myself and between students and other students. We can do small group discussions. They can hear my opinion. I can hear their opinions and give feedback right away. Do little mini projects to get some feedback on it. That was a big thing I felt in terms of collaboration, both between kids and between students and me. Interactive learning. My classroom wasn't totally passive anymore now. It wasn't just me up in front of class telling stories, doing notes. I would still do a little bit of that here and there, or add more stories as we were talking about stuff. But the passive part was right here, 15 minutes outside of class. The interactive part was out in class, doing role plays and simulations and activities and mini projects and that kind of stuff, where kids were, bam, doing stuff, and they really became more in charge of their learning. They had to take some ownership of their learning now. It wasn't just my job to fill their head. Now they got to do part of that too. Obviously, that works with some motivation things. Yeah, we work with a little bit there to get kids motivated to do that. But it was a big shift for kids to be like, hey, I'm in charge of what I'm doing now. Some kids took it and ran with it. Some kids struggled. That's the case with everything, right? But kids a little more in charge of their own learning now. It wasn't like, you didn't teach me. It's like, well, man, I got to do some work now. I have to learn how to do this a little bit for myself. The brick and mortar school, I shouldn't say no need for brick and mortar school. It's maybe the wrong way to put it on here, but it's kind of that blended education idea where there's not just a time and place for one thing. I have a kid that misses 2 weeks. Man, if I'm lecturing every day, that's a lot of stuff to try and make up. Oh look, kid misses 2 weeks. All that lecture stuff, that direct instruction, right here. And we then work to make up the in-class activities and that kind of thing with that student in a different way. That helped a lot. I had one student who missed 6 weeks of school for illness, and this got him through. It worked. Okay, it did work that way for that one student. Kids can also do something called SPAR, to stop, pause, and rewind. It's hard in the middle of class, for a kid to stop when a teacher's doing a lecture. If they don't feel comfortable asking that question, they can stop, rewind it, go through it again, maybe ask that question later. I got to do a better job of making a way to ask those questions, but you can stop, pause, and rewind and come back to things. Obviously, there are some downsides. We'll get to them a little later on. How it works. What my flipped classroom looked like was this. Kids would have 2 or 3 video notes or reading type things per week as homework. They do those outside of class, expect to be done by a certain day. Whether it was done, no. But we worked around that a little bit, and we found ways to make that go. Students were required to take notes. I used a modified Cornell note outline with some questions on it, or do some kind of assessment in class. I might use a game. I might use a discussion, something like that kind of thing. I try to check notes in class if I could, 2 or 3 minutes, try to check notes, check them off, done, not done grade. And then we do a little discussion, try to bring out some of those big topics for the notes, go through questions, something we didn't get, something to explain some a different way. We have to do the rest of the time that we could then spend doing activities. I mean, the primary documents we go through, discussion we go through, role plays and simulations, mini projects, activity-based type things. I did 50% more of that than I've ever done in the past before, which is great. Kids need to do that. A lot more higher order thinking was happening in my classroom than before. That's how my class looked like. It might look very differently in another person's classroom. Now, there are a lot of different methods for flipping. I'll look at a couple different things here. One is a teacher-created notes. You guys are watching mine right now. Nothing fancy, I'll be honest. There's no explosions and strobe lights and stuff. I could make that if I really wanted to. Simple, basic, straightforward is all I have right now. You can make that, okay? You can make that today if you really wanted to. You can utilize other people's videos. That phrase of, why reinvent the wheel? People have done it. Use them too. There's a guy in Ohio. I also noticed I had a video on YouTube that had 500 hits. I'm like, how the heck did I get 500 hits on this video? There's a dude in Ohio who assigns my videos for class. Kind of cool. A little flattering. But yeah, I mean, he got a hold of me on Twitter and said, hey, I'm using your videos. Love it. You can definitely use other people's stuff too. It's all out there. You can find. You can use it. Or you can use third-party resources that are available online. Some professional grade stuff that's out there to use. Told that too. So if you want to make your own videos, first of all, which I encourage, because I think it's a cool thing to do. I think it's not just a cool thing, but kids appreciate the effort sometimes. There are a couple different programs you can use. The one I like to use is called Screencast-O-Matic. I see a little thing down here saying it in the corner. It's a free program you can download for 15 minutes recording time. It keeps me on a schedule because the typical student has the attention span of about 15 minutes. So it makes me make sure my video is short enough for kids to do. You can buy a upgraded program. It's not that really expensive. What it does, records your screen, records your voice off the microphone on your computer, and your image too. You can see me down here. Hey guys, what's up? You saw my dog before. I like to jump in videos. I've noticed that kids really like seeing a person on the video. I was talking with a tech director in Cudahy, Mickey Chavez, and he says, kids watch more when you're on there a little bit. My kids have noticed, like, where were you? Were you in your living room, or were you in your classroom, or were you in your office, or where were you? I record one video outside. They love it when my dog would all of a sudden jump up on me and like get down, Bowie, that kind of stuff. You can upload your video directly to YouTube or save it to your computer. You can load it into Windows Movie Maker and edit it, make it even bigger if you want to. I like the program. It's simple. It's easy to use. It only works on PCs, though. It does not work on Macs. Another one would be called Screencastify. It's a Google extension, free. Just Google Screencastify. You can download the extension to Google Chrome. And same thing, just open it up. It records your voice and image too if you want to. The downside is that it's very, very little storage space on it. And basically, upload YouTube directly, and that's all you can really do. I've played with it a little bit. It's okay. I don't mind it. But it's another option if you prefer that versus a Screencast-O-Matic or another program. If you're an iPad user, I'm not a big iPad user. My wife is. I'm really not. The best ones I've found so far are Explain Everything is pretty good. It records as like an interactive whiteboard. I can see a lot of math applications for flipping math class with the iPad or a tablet. You can draw right on there and draw the problems, that kind of thing. Another good one is called Teach, but you have to upload everything to a website called nomania.com. Other ones are listed here like Show Me and Doodlecast. All great programs. Which if you're an iPad person, we can play with later on and see. Obviously, iMovie would work as well potentially. You can find other people's materials. So Khan Academy, always good. They have a lot of math and sciencey type things. Hippocampus has about 5,700 videos, give or take, in 13 different subject areas you can use. They're a little simplistic. Definitely preview them before you assign them, but they do work. I haven't really ever used them for a class, but I know other people have. You can just search YouTube for stuff. YouTube has a lot of good stuff on it. Crash Course, John Green runs this with his brother, John Green, who wrote Fault in Our Stars. He has U.S. history, world history. There's sciences like chemistry, biology, anatomy, physiology, psychology, bunch of different topics in Crash Course. They go a little fast, but for an AP, I've assigned them for AP level flipping assignments before, and they've worked very, very well for me. So you can do that route as well. Organization. I'm a terrible organizer. Those who see my classroom know this. But yeah, I had to find a way to organize my videos. YouTube is good because lots of storage space. A lot of kids just subscribed to me. Whenever a new video got posted, they watched it. That worked really well for them. A lot of times, the problem is that YouTube is always hard to get into at school. That did cause some problems. You can use like a website or LMS, a learning management system, to post your videos. I do have a Google site. I tried using it this year. It didn't work very well because of some things between my school account and my personal account where I had the website on. But I try to make a one-stop shopping kind of thing for students, whether it be Google Classroom, LMS, or Schoology that I use, or Haiku. That always worked well. I always made paper copies of notes, so it's one of the few. I'm trying to go less paper in my classroom, but I did have paper copies of notes. There are online programs, some called vidnote.es. I'll show you guys this in the session. That kids could take notes on there. It's a cool program where you can actually watch the video on one window and take notes in the other window. Overall, some students like doing that as well. So finding a way to organize and store everything is a big part of it. I have to get better at this personally, especially on the student end of it, how to help them organize their materials, which also is a good soft skill to learn as well. Assessing, I did not do a very good job assessing my lessons the past year and a half I've done this. I've done things with like game and quiz sites like Kahoot worked well. We'll be doing that in class here. A Google form on each video might work as well in terms of the lesson. Online discussion posts through an LMS might work. The discussions kind of work a little bit, or a quiz. Kids need to know. They need that feedback right away, how well they learn. I'm still working on that. That's what we do. There are programs we can actually put questions in the middle of your video, and I might be looking at that too. I'll show you guys that site. I just found it not too long ago. I might show you guys that in the classroom as well. So, gotta find some way to assess those. Assessment, I feel, is really, really important. I didn't do a very good job of this. If I had a better job assessing students and how well they learn, how well they pay attention, what they get out of the flip video, I might do a better job of teaching my flip class as well that way. And so that's something I need to work on as well. What if kids didn't do the flipped video homework? Okay, this is a hard part. Question I always get. It's easier in a block. Sometimes, people I know that do flip lessons will have kids do bookwork during that time, the discussion time. Hard in a 45 or 47 minute class. I used ARP as my time. If kids didn't have videos done, I requested to attend ARP. They got a little harder now with our request system this year, my first time around, but I made that work too. Making kids, teaching kids to try that responsibility factor of it. Next year, my goal is to require all form of assessments to be completed. So if I do like a quiz type thing or like a check type deal and satisfactory before they do a summative assessment, might be a way to do it, but that takes a lot of trying to keep track of stuff on me. So yeah, that's one way to look at it. Kids have the internet. Obviously, schools have YouTube. They get access to it. They actually made viewing parties for my notes sometimes. Kids watch it on their phones. You can download the video flash drive or make DVDs of it. The idea is that kids will find a way to get a hold of it. And that's the thing to use, too. So remember, kids have internet. They're going to find a way to do stuff. Use textbook, another source, internet, whatever. They'll find a way to do it. for Tuesday. Bring your questions and concerns. Thanks a lot.